There we go. Now everything's up and running. Last of Us time. Time to talk about The Last of Us. Turn it up a little bit. Man, lots going on with The Last of Us Season 2, with Ellie, with all of that. So much happening. What's up? Thanks for joining. Uh oh, wife in the chat. Ah. How you doing, babe? Doing good? Who knows if she's even stayed in here? Okay, this is what we're talking about up front. This is what we're gonna get into. So I posted a video talking about how the writer Craig Mazin said that Ellie was incompetent in contrast to Abby, which I thought was wild because I feel like they're both extremely competent. Like, yes, Abby is I don't even know if she's on another level. I think they're trying to portray her like that, especially in the show with the whole storyline of she's supposed to be leading um WLF and all that kind of stuff that Isaac was talking about in the finale. But to say that Ellie is incompetent, I feel like is just a wild, wild, wild sentiment. All right, you see what I'm saying? So we're gonna go through some of these comments that y'all were leaving. So the first comments from Sandy84. They said, "This is sad. The whole point is that she's incredibly competent. Joel taught her everything. Her flaw is she just reacts too quickly sometimes, and her emotions lead rather than her sense." Which, yes, I agree with this 100%. And I don't think this is just something that's in the game. I think this is something that's also in the show, right? Because of the scene with Gail, the therapist, when she's originally talking to Tommy. I believe that was in episode one. I think it was in episode one. Yeah, episode one. And she was talking about, they brought up that theme of nature versus nurture, and she said she feels like, it isn't even as much of Joel nurturing Ellie. It's that Ellie and Joel were just similar from the very, very beginning, right? Which, I think when you look at Joel, you definitely see competence, right? You see, this man, leader, and like Ellie's a leader too, which they changed her character so much in the show. I mean, that's what we're talking about, right? They changed it so much in the show. Um, but yeah, so I think Ellie is supposed to kind of be this person that obviously is not exactly like Joel, but in the wait, is my Instagram, babe? Is my live frozen? It's not. Looks like it on my end. Okay. Yeah, so when you look at Ellie, she's a little bit different than Joel. But I think the second game is supposed to be this continuation. And you see how Ellie is just, she's smart, she knows how to survive, she knows what to do, she just knows she has a direction, and yes, it's 100% motivated by revenge, but she has the level of, she knows what she wants to get done and she knows how to get it done. And yeah, people save her here and there, like in the game Jesse did save her in the game, but you never have this sense of when you're playing in the game that she's out of her element, like she don't know what she's doing, like she's just this person operating completely off of feelings and no sense at all, whereas Abby on the other side is this extremely calculated person. Like, that is not the vibe of the characters in the game at all, you know what I'm saying? And I don't even think in the show, especially in the first season, like in the first season of the show, they show how competent Ellie is, like all of the time, right? And so just to have this character shift of Ellie being extremely smart and capable and all that in the first season, like for example, her figuring out that code Joel had with the 80s music and all that kind of stuff, to then in the second season kind of giving all of those personality traits that we saw in the first season and kind of giving them to the people outside of her, like Dina especially. I feel like they took a lot of the traits Ellie had and gave them to Dina to give depth to her character for some reason. Because they could have gave depth to her character without kind of taking it away from Ellie at times. That was strange, but um, yeah, man. And then we go into this next comment here, right, from Harlem Rose XOXO, that says they miss the point a lot with these characters. Their story is blind revenge. Now, I don't know if I agree with this one 100%. I don't think it's blind revenge. I think that uh at one point 100% yes with Ellie. I think after Nora she kind of reaches that point, or maybe even like literally right before Nora and everything that happens is kind of like this blind revenge at that point 100%. um but then with Abby especially, and I'm not going to get into spoilers for Abby's section of the game for what will be season 3, not going to get into spoilers there, but I definitely don't think hers is blind revenge at all. Like I I don't think hers is blind revenge even a little bit. um and I feel like the story would be boring if it is one of blind revenge. I think there was a lot of level of morally gray areas and things like that that made the story so intriguing, especially when you do start playing as Abby. I'm a big fan of Abby's half of the story more than Ellie's half, the first half of the story. Um, and I've played the game twice, and each time I'm way more invested in Abby's story, to be honest with you, because I think Abby's half, once again, no spoilers. I think what her half, it recontextualizes what you do as Ellie in the first half and just makes the game story so much larger and so much bigger and so much more thematic and emotional and all this kind of stuff. So I can't wait till season 3 because I do think season 3 is going to be better, but it's unfair to Bella and unfair to Ellie as a character because I feel like they just didn't do their job well. They just didn't do their job well when it came to that at all. And so this comment this person left, Gabe Correa 305, they left a long comment here. But we're gonna talk about it. Well, I don't agree that Abby is fully competent because of who she put at risk in both her confrontations. But again, the context may change in season 3. But Ellie in the show is very different from the game. On one hand, I prefer how much she's disgusted with the constant hurdles of Dina's pregnancy and Jesse to pursue her revenge. But on the other, I like that the show when Ellie told Dina the truth. Dina purposely let Ellie go, knowing full well what would happen if the chance arose. I don't think the show is perfect, but the changes in certain areas fit with the TV way of telling stories than the game version of telling stories. But I don't fully like it because I really need to see how they execute the epilogue section of the game. Okay, lots going on right there. But essentially, what I want to talk about in this comment is about the idea of how some of the TV changes worked and some of them didn't. Here's my problem. When initially this season came out and they made changes right off the bat, like opening up the show with Abby's motivation and all that, I was going to wait until the end of the season to decide, if the changes paid off for the narrative the TV show was trying to paint, trying to write. And I don't think the changes did that. Like, even for the TV show, if you take the game completely out of it, I feel like the TV show was just by itself completely rushed. A lot of character arcs ended up not making sense. Um, Even like what we're talking about right here with writing Ellie as incompetent. I mean, just the changes didn't make sense by the end, right? So a big example here is they opened up the show and Ellie's first scene was her taking down, a bigger guy, right? And she told Jesse to hold no punches, right? To me, that was supposed to be foreshadowing to when she fights Owen at the end. Now so in the show, she didn't fight Owen at the end. And Craig said, it wouldn't have made sense for Ellie to fight Owen at the end because he's like 6'4" and she wouldn't be able to. Okay, well, then why did you write the part where she's taking down the big dude at the beginning? And then also, they did film her fighting Owen, but they just didn't use it. And so things like that just don't make sense. The thing where they completely changed Jesse's character to be kind of the voice of truth, which I made a short video about this as well. But when they changed Jesse's character to be the voice of truth against what Ellie was doing, as far as, you know, telling the audience, voicing the opinions of the audience and how they feel about Ellie, as far as her being selfish and getting her friends in trouble and all that. That's what they changed his character to represent. But then by the end of the same episode, he kind of did a 180 and was like, "Know what? It's cool because you will burn down the world for me." That just doesn't make sense. Like, there was no need to change his character because he was already um on Ellie's side in the video game. So there was just no need to change his character if that's where you were going to end up. And then also, once again, it makes it so that Ellie's actions are justified, and it's trying to dampen the effect of what Ellie's doing in the darkness and the this and the that, to make her character seem more agreeable, which I just don't know why they keep doing that. They did that so much this season to try and make Ellie more likable than she was in the game. And I don't know why they were doing that, because her being unlikable is so important to season 3 with Abby. So I don't know why they were doing that. I mean, I'm sure there are some changes in the show, to Gabe's point, that worked better. For example, I actually think the fight at Jackson worked really well, because that brought a lot of tension into that episode, which worked really, really well. And I actually, going back to the Jesse thing, I actually would have welcomed that change of Jesse being the voice of reason. I just didn't like the way they ended that. I thought it was actually good because no one was telling Ellie the truth about what she was doing. No one was confronting her about the truth of how wild all her actions were. And so I feel like Jesse would have been a great character to do that. You know, if he's the responsible one and the next leader of the community and all that kind of stuff. But they backtracked on it real quick. And so they kind of ruined that. So I didn't like that. But yeah, I think, the last thing Gabe said here was, but I don't fully like it because I really need to see how they execute the epilogue section of the game. And what they mean by that is the porch scene. The porch scene, probably like one of the best scenes of not just the show, but the game too. Thing is, in the game, is at the very, 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 very end, and it's supposed to be the like emotional climax of the whole entire game that recontextualizes everything. And so now that they already used that in season 2 here, um, yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do at the end of the show. We're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to hold our judgments and opinions on that till the very, very end. Which actually, before we get to this next question, real quick, I just want to say, okay, if their plan was to release a season every 2 years, I don't understand why they just wouldn't wait just a little bit and film both seasons back to back. So, like, instead of it coming out this year, it would have came out next year, and we would have had season 2 and 3 just come out in 2026 and 2027, and just had that little extra time. I much would have rather that than 2 years in between. But hey, okay, let's get back to this question real quick. So let's see, where was I? Okay. Yeah. So at Red, they said hearing this was done on purpose is so much worse. So that was in response to me showing how the writer views Ellie as incompetent, right? Because a lot of the audience was saying throughout the season, like, why are they making Ellie just so, like, I mean, lack of a better word, like stupid and incapable of doing things and all this kind of stuff. And so, yeah, hearing that it was done on purpose is so much worse. I agree. Like, I agree. I feel like we were all kind of hoping that there was just this, I don't know, like it wasn't it was a mistake, like, and these things were just adding up, and maybe we were interpreting it the wrong way, or something was lost in translation. But no, like, that's just how the writer saw Ellie for some reason. Yeah, but that gets into this next comment from bear.uu that says, why are they ruining Ellie's character so much? It's like they hate her. Now, I don't think the writer hates her. I will say, however, just from things I've heard and seen, it does seem like he's much more interested in Abby's character, because even in moving into season 3, they said it's going to be more episodes, it's going to be crazier, it's going to just be a bigger season. And now listen, like I said, I love Abby's story more than Ellie's story in part 2. But I feel like if you're making the show, you can't really be playing favorites like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not, you can't just be doing, Ellie wrong and kind of paying attention and trying to do Abby's half better. Um and so I think season 3 is going to be better because he seems to be more invested. Seems to be more invested in Abby. So I don't think he hates Ellie. I just think he's kind of biased towards Abby. Um, and hey, like I just said multiple times, I liked Abby's part better. So I am more excited for season 3, and I'm glad that it seems like there's gonna be a better adaptation of Abby's part than Ellie's part. Like Ellie really did get screwed over. Like yeah, not cool at all. A Merck said, I didn't even mind Bella. I'm not gonna lie, Ellie's just terribly written, and I'm here for how well season 3 will be received following Abby. Listen, kind of goes with what I just said. I don't think Bella did a bad job as Ellie either. I really don't. I think she was a better younger Ellie, but she did pull off older Ellie, in my opinion, in the times when the script was good. You know what I'm saying? Like in episode 6, like she killed that. And so, but even in episode 6, you could still tell she was a better, younger version of Ellie. But hey, man, I agree. Like they did a bad job. They did a bad job. Last one here from L2804. I thought they were dumbing Ellie down to prop up Dina, but this is actually worse. Once again, that's talking about the incompetence part. And yeah, I thought they were doing that too. I thought there was this want to make Dina more of a full character, because with the lack of Joel, they wanted to basically still have, like a two-person journey going on. And they wanted to kind of have Dina be more of a main character than a side character. And so they were fleshing out her backstory and just giving her more personality and different things here and there. But sometimes I also agree that it was at a fault where it felt like they were dumbing Ellie down or not giving Ellie enough time, or even in the finale with the scene where Dina's like, like washing Ellie's back. I felt like changing that scene to be a revelation scene for Dina rather than Ellie was odd. That was a really odd choice, but once again, it was trying to make Dina be more of a full character. But at the same time, it's like he also said he saw Dina and Ellie's relationship as like a mother-daughter relationship where Dina's the mom in the relationship. And so yeah, that's, I don't know. That was odd. So like just how he interpreted Ellie as a character wasn't the best, and it came across to everybody. And it's, I really feel the worst for Bella because they just didn't get even a chance to really show out this season, and they're obviously not going to be in the next season. Well, it's not obvious. Well, everybody knows the next season at this point is Abby's season, and Ellie's not really in there that much because it goes back to day 1 through day 3, just like on Ellie's side. And obviously, when we just saw Ellie's season, we didn't really see Abby like that. Same thing's gonna happen season 3 when I see a lot of Abby, basically no Ellie. So we're not really gonna see Ellie to season 4. So what's that, like 4 years from now? So 4 years from now till we see Bella Ramsey as Ellie basically next. That's wild. That's wild. Can't believe that. Yeah, but those were the comments I had on here. I guess just to summarize here, um, they definitely messed Ellie up. Can't believe they saw her as incompetent. She's definitely not that. She, like I said, she was smart, had survival skills. Even though she was, the revenge was driving her, she still was, calculate. Like she knew what she was doing. She had a plan. She had a strategy. It just all fell through. Fell through in the show. It was a damn shame. Um, but yeah, season 3 I'm looking forward to. I hope y'all are too still. I'm telling you, if you haven't played the game, Abby's story is fire. So good. So good. But yeah, y'all, I'm gonna be making some more videos on The Last of Us here and there about different things. You can check those out on YouTube. And I'm moving to some more shows, uh, making content about those. But yeah, y'all, stay up with me. And until next time, I'll see y'all.